You are Locked On Phillies Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Philadelphia, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome into this Philadelphia Phillies postcast here on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. My name is Mark Farzetta, and this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with a winning $5 bet. That's $150, people, with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. That's FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. I am very pleased by what I saw tonight with Zack Wheeler. Very similar. Now, was it a complete game shutout similar to that of Aaron Nola? Well, unfortunately, it was not. However, what it was a 7-inning and 1/3 performance by Zack Wheeler, where he got you essentially 4 bonus outs is what he did. Because Rob Thompson trusted him to go out there, log that 6th inning, then go out there again, be able to log an out in that 7th inning and put one away before they handed the ball over to Jose Alvarado and the rest of the Phillies bullpen. And in this case, the rest of the Phillies bullpen was Alvarado and Jeff Hoffman. And Jeff Hoffman was able to go out there and exercise the demons, the unfortunate demons from last night's loss against the New York Mets. But mostly, Zack Wheeler tonight was exactly what the doctor ordered. And that is why he is number 1 on our big 3 things today. Zack Wheeler in great control and great command in this ball game. You had the splitter working tonight. You had the fastball working tonight and elevating the velocity of his fastball 2 miles per hour faster than his average going into tonight on that 4-seamer. He was leaving guys flailing at that curveball like Joey Gallo, for instance, in a number of occasions in tonight's ball game. It wasn't your typical 7-inning, 10 strikeout type performance from Zack Wheeler, but it was a 7 1/3, 6 strikeout performance from him, only issuing 3 hits and 3 walks in the ball game today, and those 2 unfortunate earned runs. But the offense was able to give him just enough. But all in all, I can't talk about it enough. Similar to the way I talked about it with Aaron Nola on a night where going into his complete game shutout, you had used 7 pitchers against the Marlins. You had used 6 pitchers against the Marlins, 12 over a 2-game span, 5 the second game. And you really needed somebody to step up and log a lot of innings for you. Zack Wheeler went and did that tonight. After the appearance last night, after the game last night, where you went 11 innings using 7 pitchers in that game, after you lost your starting pitcher in Taijuan Walker after 4 1/3, you needed to make sure that you had somebody going out there making sure that he could log you at least a quality start, and he got you more than that. And what I loved from Zack Wheeler's performance above all else tonight, and you saw him go out there in that 6th inning, and he was able to get you a 1-2-3 inning. Meneses is able to foul out to Alec Bohm at third base. Gallo strikes out, this time on that 4-seam fastball, got him inside, didn't know what to do with it, and he fooled him on it. Then Vargas grounds out to first to end that inning. Then in the 7th inning, this was amazing. You have Rob Thompson trusting one of his aces, because now it feels like a staff full of aces, as we know. He trusted me to say, you know what? Go out there. You're at 91 pitches. I want to pull you around 100 pitches. Try to control this inning. Try to get out of it quickly. And what does Zack Wheeler do in that 7th inning? He gets Winker to fly out to center field, 2-pitch at bat. Then he gets Ruiz to ground out to Bryson Stott at second base in a 3-pitch at bat. And then he gets Senzel to line out to left field. When it was all said and done, it was only a 9-pitch inning for Zack Wheeler. 3 up, 3 down, 1, 2, 3, just as easy as that. And with that, at only 100 pitches, he gives him one more batter for that 8th inning before Jose Alvarado came in to take over. So when I look at the box score today and I look at what Zack Wheeler was able to do, the numbers are obviously fantastic, but the numbers also match exactly what the Phillies need. Someone to go 7 1/3, have an efficient start, an efficient pitch count, which I would call 104 pitches getting into that 8th inning. A marvelous start for Zack Wheeler. As I mentioned, the strikeouts, the walks are unfortunate. The walks were interesting for Zack Wheeler. Just to focus on this for a second. 2 of the 3 walks that he had were 4-pitch walks. And it wasn't strike. It was a very tight strike zone tonight by Lumpay behind the plate. Very, very tight strike zone. And it seemed to be a rather abrupt, tight strike zone because Wheeler would go from striking out a guy in 3 or 4 pitches, then walking a guy on 4 pitches. And those were all pitches that were either around the zone or in the zone. And I know Tom McCarthy throughout the ball game tonight referenced it on a couple of occasions. But as the game went on, you saw that strike zone start to get a little tighter and tighter. But Zack Wheeler was able to adjust as the game went on. But Lumpay behind the plate, little inconsistent in that strike zone tonight. But all in all, Zack Wheeler gave exactly what you needed. So you love to see that. Number 2, Bryson Stott. Bryson Stott. This guy, ball player is the word that jumps to mind when I watch Bryson Stott. We've talked about game-winning hits. We've talked about game-winning performances. We've talked about him getting hit by pitches. We've talked about him hitting home runs. We've talked about him getting extra base hits. We've talked about potentially playing more shortstop. Didn't talk much about him laying down bunts. And here's what I love about Bryson Stott's bunt. 2 outs in the inning, and Bryson Stott gets a little 2-out lightning going for the Philadelphia Phillies. It was a thing of beauty. 3rd inning, Phillies are already up 3-1 at this point. Harper flies out to center field. Then after that, you had Alec Bohm step to the plate. He grounds out to 3rd. Bryson Stott says, let's see what I can get going here. Drops down a gorgeous textbook bunt to the left side of the infield. He reaches first with no problem. Nick Castellanos steps up. All of a sudden, he gets plunked. What is going on? We can ask this question, right? Like, too many guys are getting hit. But anyway, I want to stay on this with Bryson Stott. Lays down that bunt with 2 outs. Next thing you know, Castellanos gets hit. You have 1st and 2nd with 2 outs in the inning, and you're already up 2 runs. This is all started with Bryson Stott laying down that bunt. 1st and 2nd, 2 outs. Brandon Marsh steps up to the plate and ropes one down the right field line, bangs up against the wall. Stott scores from 2nd. No problem whatsoever. And then Edmundo Sosa unfortunately grounds out to 3rd to end the inning. But you got a bonus run. Without that bonus run, it's not a lot of breathing room. It already wasn't with a 4-2 win. But you're talking about even tighter for Jose Alvarado. Even tighter there for Jeff Hoffman, who's coming off a really rough outing in the previous night against the Mets. So for me, that was huge from Bryson Stott to just see what he could get going for the Phils there in the 3rd inning, and ended up helping them out tremendously. Especially, and this is a little bonus feature here, Nick Castellanos in right field. What's going on? That sliding grab he tried to make on the Rosario double, quote unquote, to right field, the RBI double to right field, that was a little troublesome because he comes up with that ball, and he's been coming up with that ball with, I would say, 100% consistency since the World Series 2 years ago, 2 seasons ago. So I don't know what happened there, but that's what went down. I mentioned his name once already, but the 3rd thing in this game tonight was Brandon Marsh. Brandon Marsh is able to work a walk in this game. He's able to score a run in this game. He's able to get the RBI double that brought home Bryson Stott after his bunt in that 3rd inning, and that's how they were able to get that run across the plate. So that, for me, was a huge inning there for the Phillies. It really helped set the tone so that Zack Wheeler could stay out there for a little bit longer. Had it been a tighter game, had they not been able to score those runs, had it only been a 2-1 game or a 3-1 game, maybe they go to the bullpen even earlier in this one. But Zack Wheeler was just in control. That's why he's number 1 on the list. Number 2, Bryson Stott, no question. Number 3, Brandon Marsh coming up with not only a run scored, not only the RBI, but also getting on base with the walk and the double as well. That's what you want to see from Brandon Marsh, who, unfortunately, with the way he started out the season, he started out very similar to the way he started last season, which was coming out like gangbusters. 338 to start out the season, looking like an absolute money player for you. And then things really have started to fall apart for Brandon Marsh. So to see him be able to get on base in 2 different occasions, see him be able to drive in a run, and also come up with, by the way, honorable mention for Brandon Marsh, a great play that he made on a Rosario foul out in that same 3rd inning. He went running far into foul territory. I thought he was going to get clipped. I thought he was watching the ball in the air, as he should be, not watching where that corner comes in the left field, and I thought he was going to slam right into it. From the camera angle, it looked just like that. You know who wasn't afraid of Brandon Marsh doing that? You know who was not afraid of Brandon Marsh doing that? Brandon Marsh was not afraid of Brandon Marsh doing that, and he didn't do it. Made a great running catch, going up against the tarp almost, be able to come down with that for the final out, second out of that inning to help out Zack Wheeler even further. And then the very next pitch, Meneses ends up grounding out to third to Alec Bohm, and then ended the third inning just like that. But they just kept on cruising. The only time that you saw Zack Wheeler a little bit on the ropes was that second inning, and that's when the Nationals were able to get their run. Their first run of the ball game. But he was able to even control the damage in that. Going back to Zack Wheeler now. You look at Gallo striking out on the 3-2 splitter. Great. Vargas works one of the 4-pitch walks to Vargas. Winker then flies out to Johan Rojas in center field. Ruiz then doubles, gets the RBI double. Senzel, another 4-pitch walk, and then he strikes out Robles on a high fastball. So looking out throughout this game, you just had different moments where Zack Wheeler, Brandon Marsh, and Bryson Stott really stepped up. And how about this? The Phillies actually score a run on a wild pitch. Unlike yesterday, where they gave away 2 runs on wild pitches, you saw Brandon Marsh score on a wild pitch from third base to give the Phillies their second run of the ball game. Excuse me, their third. What am I saying? Second run of the ball game is correct. And then right after that, you had the Kyle Schwarber RBI ground out. So that's all in the third inning as well. Second inning, excuse me. So all that was different guys stepping up throughout the ball game tonight, most notably Zack Wheeler, Brandon Marsh, and Bryson Stott. And that's what the Phillies, and that's how the Phillies have gotten to this point in this season. This is how they have gotten to this point in May, where they are putting up record numbers, and I can't remind you enough, and I know I got into it after a losing effort by the Phillies last night, but one of the things I keep on focusing on with this Phillies team is that you got to go back to 1913 to see stats that are at all similar to that of a Ranger Suarez and what he's been able to do for you in this young season so far. You look at what the Phillies have done record-wise, and you got to go back to 1993. You got to go back to 1976. It is insane. And now you have an opportunity here to win another series, starting tomorrow night, 6:10 start time, by the way. And you have an opportunity to keep stacking these wins. And I hate to mention it because we won't still be on, unfortunately. But last I looked, updating the scoreboard right now, if anyone's listening to this not live, later, you already know the answer. But right now, in the top of the 7th inning in Atlanta, the San Diego Padres are leading the Atlanta Braves right now in the top of the 7th inning, 3-1. Max Fried started off the game, gave up 9 hits, using 88 pitches to get through 4 1/3. Oh, come on now. Come on now. Padres have to finish that game. They got to win that game. Luis Arraez hitting 308 since he joined the Padres? No way. That's bonkers, man. 354 on base percentage? All right. Let's get that going. Phillies right now 3 games up on the Braves. They'll have an opportunity to go 3.5 games up on the Braves with a win tonight. Braves were idle yesterday. Phillies lost a half game. Yeah, that's the way that works. All right. When we come back, we're going to take a look at some of the I don't want to call it craziness, but it's what's going on with Johan Rojas in center field. We talk about this a lot in other sports. Situational baseball, situational football, okay? Johan Rojas, I don't know what's going on. They showed a weird drill he was doing, courtesy of Paco Figueroa, the Phillies' first base coach and fielding instructor as well. We'll cover it with Johan Rojas. We'll get to that in a second when we return, when you're locked on this Phillies postcast. Oh, you guys haven't heard me talking about Supply House yet, but allow me to enlighten. When it comes to Supply House, it's where it's at. SupplyHouse.com. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades. SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website that they have is fantastic. It's packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. That's at SupplyHouse.com. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Supplyhouse.com. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business, and talk to a real person every time. And where's that at? That's supplyhouse.com. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining supplyhouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. That's supplyhouse.com. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/TM. That's supplyhouse.com/TM, and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from everywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. That's supplyhouse.com. Before I go any further, let's just see what's going on in the chat. IBH, welcome to the party, pal. Good to see you again. Back in the win column, right back in the win column, absolutely. Twiz saying, what's up, Farzy? Some people do call me Farzy. What's happening? Crazy, what's going on there, Crazy? Nice to see you as well. These are my people. Castellanos been rough to watch. Maybe this year's bad half is the first half. Ellipses. I hope. Ellipses. There you go. I hope so, too. And it's really funny how, Trey Turner turned his season around last year in the final 2 months of the season. That was great to see. But the other thing is that people forget is Trey Turner, I want to say he batted .270 in the month of May last year. Not terrible. Not terrible at all. Also, as I told you guys earlier in the week, it's looking like Trey Turner is going to very much beat that 6-week timetable. He could be 4 weeks. At worst, 4 weeks. Good to see him still run sprints and all that stuff. But, yeah, I would love to see Nick Castellanos really pick it up in the second half of the season, because let's not forget, you can have a good month and a half and you can make the All-Star team. And Nick Castellanos, I think, had a little bit more than a good month and a half. He had a good 2 months, 2.5 months, and he made the All-Star team. Second half of the season, and not so great. The start of this season, pretty terrible. And what is unfortunate, and I know we started watching this yesterday, so we have to highlight it again today, after today's performance for Nick Castellanos, which, again, was not great. Nick Castellanos' batting average has now sunk below, as he was 0 for 2, including getting hit by a pitch in today's ball game. Now dips below 200. He's at 199 with a 270 on base percentage. You got to be kidding me. And yet here we are. That's where we're at with Nick Castellanos. Sorry. Yes, he definitely needs to pick it up from the plate. He had a nice, 2-week stretch? And then right back down to earth for Nick Castellanos, unfortunately. But I told you guys before the break I was going to talk about Johan Rojas. Have you seen? I haven't seen, but maybe you have seen. I haven't seen. Have you ever seen a an outfield drill? The heck with it. Anywhere drill. Any defensive fielding drill in baseball where the fielder, the defender, is wearing an eye patch. An eye patch. For the people on the podcast that are just listening to this, if you're a Phillies fan, maybe didn't get a chance to watch the game, they showed footage of Johan Rojas in center field shagging fly balls before the game during warm-ups while wearing an eye patch. And he would switch eyes. The story was it was to help him concentrate. Okay. So then riddle me this. What the heck happened with Johan Rojas in that, what was it, second inning? I want to say it was. Yeah, second inning. Here's the situation. Joey Gallo led off that inning, was striking out in the 3-2 splitter. Vargas then worked the 4-pitch walk that I mentioned earlier. Winker flies out to center field, and then the next ball goes into center field from Ruiz. This one, unfortunately, is tailing away from Johan Rojas. He makes a great effort, a wonderful effort to try to catch this baseball. However, you have a runner on first base. The only thing you need to do is keep that ball in front of you. If you field the baseball, that run is not scoring. Vargas, who just walked on 4 pitches, is not scoring on that play. You just keep it in front of you. He did lay it all out there. He felt like he could take the risk, I guess, that early in the ball game. I don't know. But if he dives and misses, which would have been a really hard catch to make, and he still tried it. I give him credit for that, I guess. But the smart play, hold up, field it cleanly, get it into the infield, and then you won't have to worry about that. And then I would have confidence that Zack Wheeler would be able to, even with a base open, which is what he had, he'd be able to get out of that inning. Because after that, you would have had runners on second and third with 2 outs. Because you had the Gallo strikeout on the 3-2 splitter, and then Winker fly out to center field. So then you would have had first and second with 2 outs. It should be second and third with 2 outs. And then even if you end up walking Senzel, that's the bases loaded situation, and he makes mincemeat of Robles on the fastball. High fastball. Blow it right by him. And he gets out of that inning. But instead, he didn't. He chose to not play it safe, which I guess is the good with the bad with Rojas. And normally I would take this as, it's fine. He was being aggressive. But one of the things Rob Thompson has referenced many times after the game is maybe be a little less aggressive. Johan Rojas, just a little tiny bit less aggressive. It's all I'm asking. He had the issue, of course, in the rainy day there. Ranger Suarez's start 2 nights ago where he dropped 2 baseballs. One was hit right at him, and he said he lost it in the rain, or the rain got in his eyes. Excuse me. And then the second one, he just, again, overly aggressive and dove past the ball on a ball he didn't have to die for. So that's where the eye patch comes in. Cool. I'm getting to the point where I need 2 eye patches when a ball's hit the center field. Kidding. That's a piping hot take, and I'm not going to do that to Johan Rojas because I'm still a fan of Johan Rojas. But I've never seen that before. If you've seen that, please let me know. But yeah, never saw that before. But Johan Rojas, definitely just a little smarter. And is it issues at the plate, maybe bleeding into the field? Maybe. I know people always kind of reach for that, not excuse, but explanation. But maybe that's something that went down with Johan Rojas, and maybe some more breaks are in store for him in the not too distant future. Not sending him down to the minor leagues or anything like that. He did have one play at the plate, one play at the plate when he was batting today that I thought was pretty interesting. It was a weird play, but it was in that second inning. Brandon Marsh led off with the walk. Then Sosa got the single to center field. Rojas ended up trying to lay down a sac bunt. Couldn't get the opportunity to do it. Then gets a really weird inside out, resulting in a lot of spin on the baseball, is what it looked like. And it just died on the grass and ended up looking like a sac bunt, and the runners were able to advance to second and third. Marsh and Sosa were able to take, advance on that hit, contact, sacrifice, if you will. And then with Marsh at third base, he was able to come around and score on that wild pitch. So at least it worked for him in that regard at the plate, at least in that regard, which is good. All right, when we come back, we're going to take a look at the Phillies ahead, what they got coming up here tomorrow against this Nationals team, a little bit earlier of a start time. We'll break that down for you and more, including what the Phillies had going for them with Jose Alvarado and with Jeff Hoffman as well. All that and more. We return. You are Locked On Phillies postcast on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Hey, you guys having fun on FanDuel yet? You should really be having fun on FanDuel. It's winner take all in the NBA as well as the NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Make a $5 bet, you win that $5 bet. New customers get $150 in bonus bets. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and at FanDuel, so much more. So visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and make every playoff shot count. Once again, winner take all, NBA, NHL. FanDuel's giving you that shot to bring home a big win of your own. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So where do we go from here after this 4-2 Phillies victory? Phillies and Nationals will be back at it at 6:05 tomorrow night. I think I said 6:10. 6:05 tomorrow night. The 32-14 Phillies, still with the best record in baseball, take on the 20-23 Washington Nationals. Christopher Sanchez gets the start in a lefty-lefty matchup as Mackenzie Gore gets the start for the Nationals. Christopher Sanchez, he enters this game at 2-3 with a 3.43 ERA on the season, coming off two decent starts. One, a great start, the 7-inning performance, allowing just one run against the Toronto Blue Jays in the Phillies' 10-1 victory. And then he also had a solid start, 5 2/3, 3 runs. That was the start where he was able to settle in nicely in a game that went into extra innings against the New York Mets at, I almost called it Shea Stadium, at Citi Field. He went 5 2/3, and remember, he was really getting hit around in the early goings of that ball game. Rob Thompson stuck with him. The fact that he was able to gut it out to just almost a quality start of 6 innings and 3 runs. If you remember that last play, he was out there. He ended up getting charged for the error. Bryson Stott made a good play. Christopher Sanchez couldn't catch it, unfortunately, at first base to record the final out of the inning. But he did log 5 2/3, 7 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts in that game. So he'll get the ball, and he'll go for his 3rd win of the season. Once again, 2-3 on the year with a 3.43 ERA. As for Mackenzie Gore, he enters this game at 2-4 with a 3.38 ERA. Very similar records, very similar ERAs when it comes to these two left-handed pitchers. Mackenzie Gore is coming off a 6-inning performance in a loss to the Boston Red Sox. Not his fault. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 runs in total, issued 2 walks, and struck out 9. He brought those numbers down significantly, considering the start before that. He only went 3 innings, allowing 6 runs on 6 hits. 2 of those runs were earned, and only 1 home run surrendered in that one, and that was an 11-8 win over the Toronto Blue Jays. So the Phillies and Nationals will play game 2 of this 3-game series coming up tomorrow night at 6:05. As of right now, before we get out of here, still in the bottom of the 7th inning, San Diego Padres are up in Atlanta 3-1 with 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. Not too shabby, if you ask me. All right. What am I going to be looking for tomorrow? Number 1, this was not a good game tonight by our boy Bryce Harper. I'm not in the realm of concern for Bryce Harper by any means. But when it comes to his approach tonight, there are just some times where you look at Bryce Harper and you just wonder, is everything all right? We know he sat out a game after he took the return pitch to the pitcher in the Mets series off the head. And maybe he looked a little lost as that game went on. I referenced 2 pitches that were right down the middle of the plate. Pitches, the 3-1 pitch and a 3-2 pitch that absolutely Bryce Harper has the green light on, didn't even offer at him. Then he came back and he started mashing a little bit. And now 0 for 4 on the night, 263 batting average now, 379 on base percentage. If he needs more time off, give him more time off. If he feels like he can still go out there and rake, then you let him go out there and rake. But I'm sure it's a conversation being had with Rob Thompson and Bryce Harper and probably Dave Dombrowski as well. But all in all, just an odd night to see him go 0 for 4. Especially against a guy like Jake Irvin, who I think he can handle his business against. But be interested to see what the Phillies do with him tomorrow night, and then also what they're going to do with Bryson Stott in the not-too-distant future here, if they do keep him at second base or if they move him over to shortstop. But here's the thing. Edmundo Sosa, I got to give him every ounce of credit. Another hit today, gets the average to 308 with a 419 on base percentage. My guess is Rob Thompson isn't going to do anything that messes with that. If Sosa's playing well at short, he's going to stay at shortstop. If nothing is shaking up Bryson Stott at second, then he's just going to keep him at second base. One of the things I did find interesting tonight was Whit Merrifield did not get any run. Brandon Marsh was back out there in left field. Yeah, he had a right-handed pitcher going, but it was good to at least see Whit Merrifield step away from the diamond for at least a second. And that's exactly the way it went down tonight. Phillies, Nationals, 6:05 tomorrow. I'll be on with you guys once again after that for your Philadelphia Phillies postcast. In the meantime, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. I got a couple of more Come on. Go Sixers says Farzy always nice to break a losing streak. Hilarious. Go Sixers, go on. Nick is Hoskins on steroids with getting into slumps. I like a slump enhancing drug. If you think you're on slumps before, try these. You'll be an even worse slump. Too late last night was terrible. Catch the ball, Rojas. Thank you. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow night after the Phillies and Nationals wrap up game 2 of the 3-game series in South Philadelphia tomorrow night. And hopefully by that time, the Phillies are a little bit more further away. Now the top of the 8th inning in Atlanta with the Padres up 3-1. So if you listen to this after that game goes final, oh, yeah, way to go, Phillies. Yay. Another game up, full game now up on the Braves. If the Braves actually come back and lose, I don't know how. I don't know how the Padres blew it. I can't believe that guy struck out with an opportunity to do something. Can't believe they gave up those hits. Man, that bullpen stinks. Come on. What the heck? Oh, it'll be 3.5 games. Yeah, I said that. 3.5 games. Braves lose, 3.5 games up on the Braves. Good time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe. Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. My name is Mark Farzetta. Have a great rest of your night, everybody. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.